putting the ballot in the envelope.
Small changes in new voting rules for something as simple as an envelope,
Sealing it.
can keep legitimate votes from counting. That's the takeaway from our investigation into what happened with a surge of rejected ballots in Texas. We found a redesigned ballot envelope Republicans in Texas said would prevent voter fraud actually blocked legal votes, including one from a Royal Ruth Princess Love.
I was shocked.
She hadn't missed an election in decades, and she even volunteers at the polls.
I mean, it's part of my breathing. Voting is part of my nature.
She's among Texans who failed to comply with the new rule for voters to print their driver's license number or last four digits of their Social Security number on their ballot return envelope. Princess Love told us she just never saw the new instructions.
I totally missed it.
The rate of rejected mail-in ballots in Texas jumped from less than 1% in 2020 to more than 12% during a March primary. The state doesn't track how often the new ID rule on the envelope was the problem, but data we analyzed from Harris County, home to Houston, gives us a good idea. All of these are ballots that were thrown out in Harris County because of that driver's license number or Social Security number issue. Harris County rejected about 7,000 ballots because of the new ID requirement. It may surprise you to hear the envelope tripped up Republicans at a higher rate than Democrats. This happened to you, and you're a Republican.
Right.
Interviews with denied voters reveal the problem was with the design of the new ballot envelope. The ID requirement was buried in a heap of fine print.
And I had not read that, and probably most of Houston hadn't read that.
It appears the key instructions were printed in about 7-point font.
Unreadable.
Even though national election standards recommend nothing smaller than 10-point font. Also, the boxes for voters to fill out ID numbers had to be hidden for privacy, according to the Secretary of State's office, which designed the envelope. They were in an unusual place beneath the envelope's flap. You even remember seeing what was underneath the flap? It just...
No, it was just like muddled in there.
I think design had a huge impact here.
Whitney Quisenberry helps election offices build simple, clear ballots. She says the trouble in Texas is a warning to 18 other states that also passed restrictive voting rules after the 2020 election. Hasty design changes, even to just an envelope, can disenfranchise voters of all political stripes.
This is not just an envelope. This is the Pony Express of democracy.
There you go. Thank you. Ohio has a similar requirement for mail-in voters to include an ID number.
Have a great day.
Yet that state's rejection rates are normal, low. The difference? Ohio's voter instructions have been the same for years. They're big, written in plain language. Important things are highlighted.
They've numbered the steps. You must complete all 5 sections. So they've done things to create a pathway through it.
Ohio also has more space to work with. Quisenberry says Texas just didn't have enough time to thoughtfully retool its ballot. The new law took effect in December with an election March 1st.
So when we ask elections to move fast, it's easy to make mistakes. And it's easy to make mistakes not because someone's trying to make mistakes, but because it's a complicated human system.
Poor design may have been especially significant in Texas, where mail-in voting is reserved for people with disabilities and seniors.
Lots of people have old age infirmities, which include your vision going.
Harris County Elections Administrator Isabel Longoria says officials had no choice but to cram the new instructions on a mailer with limited space.
You see all this text? It is mandated by law. We include it on here, no matter how small the font is.
To maintain uniformity of ballots across the state, even the smallest tweaks need approval. And to make this word purple, you had to get approval from the Secretary of State.
It took about a month.
The Secretary of State's office acknowledges the ballot envelope was difficult to navigate. An updated envelope now includes red boxes around the ID requirement to draw voters' attention. But Harris County says it's impractical to switch envelopes now.
So here you see we've got a whole box of these.
They have stacks of the old envelope. Election offices had to buy supplies months ago to handle another problem, a paper shortage.
You have to actually plan 6 months to 8 months in advance to even get these things.
They plan to reevaluate design of the mail ballot envelopes ahead of the November election.
This is Bertha with Harris County Elections Ballots by Mail.
Election offices in Texas call up voters who send an incomplete ballot if they have a phone number on file giving them a chance to fix the problem so their vote can be accepted.
However, you did not place the ID or the last four of your social on the ballot carrier envelope as now required by law.
Longoria is concerned rejection rates appear to be high again during May voting, especially among African-American voters.
Texas is no longer a leader when it comes to voting innovation. In fact, I think we're a warning sign to the rest of the country.
Longoria agreed to resign her post effective July amid backlash over an issue involving the unofficial tally of ballots. Neither Princess Love nor Gertner fixed their ballots from March, both deciding to wait till the next election to try again with voting by mail.
And we shouldn't give up. We shouldn't give up on it.
Texas driver's license.
Gertner carefully filled out that tricky ballot envelope for the May election, a little less sure her vote would count.
Patrick is with us tonight here in the studio. Patrick, a lot of states do mail-in voting, early mail-in voting. Why not just copy-paste those systems, put Texas on it? You know it's going to work.
Well, because the reality is Texas tried to do something very unusual. They tried to keep the same envelope. People have probably seen this at their homes that they've always had before, but they tried to add a bunch of information. And in order to add that information for the Social Security number and driver's license, they had to put it underneath a flap so that it could be hidden. Because if you drop this in the mail, you don't want people to see it.
So people were missing this.
Yeah, because it's under a flap. And it's in really fine print. So I don't know how good your eyes are, but you have to be able to see that and think to yourself, oh, something might appear under the flap. So when they designed this, they did it trying to use the same old envelope, whereas other states that do this, they say, you can't put all this on one envelope. You need another piece of paper. But election offices, they have to follow what the Secretary of State models, and the Secretary of State said, put it all here.
What a mess. When I heard about the story, I thought, you know, someone just missed something. No, hidden under a flap, a lot of people would miss that. Thank you.